Is 1% brokerage charged by Trendlines a high management fees? Let's talk about this a little bit. But I certainly say that this is one of the cheapest ways in India available to have your assets managed by the experts. Why do I say that? Let's explore that in a minute. So let's first understand what is this 1%. This is the brokerage that you are paying. Now this brokerage not only includes the management fees but also the standard brokerage fees that goes to the broker. Yes, you certainly have the options of going for other online brokers as well, which might not charge you any percentage of brokers. They might just charge you one flat fees for the year, like Zerodha is there, Paytm Money is there, ET Money is there, Upstocks is there, and Grow app is there. So many other like those. How is it different from that? Let's first understand this. And why is this 1% the cheapest way of managing your asset? We'll talk both the things in this video. So, how is it different from that? See, I want you to understand that all of the mentioned brokers that I told you are online brokers in which all the services are not available. So you cannot invest in bonds, you cannot invest in NCDs, you cannot invest in sovereign gold bonds, you cannot invest in REITs, InvITs. Also, you cannot invest and exercise in stock lending and borrowing, which is an amazing mechanism to make a lot of passive income. The whole point is that all of these platforms are good only and only if you want to go for the simple ways of investing. This is something you can do yourself as well. You don't need any expert for that, and that is exactly why you can do all of this yourself without paying any charges. It makes absolute sense. But that is playing the game at this level. When we're talking about playing the game at a different level altogether, playing in the different league where you're making a lot more money just by spending a little bit extra in cost, how does that become the cheapest way of managing your money is what I'm about to talk to you next. So I'm going to go through asset by asset and explain how exactly is that the fees of 1%, which includes standard brokerage and the fee of Trendlines, you can say, or the continuing operation expenses of Trendlines, both of which, as a part of this 1%, stands absolutely not just justified but also great value for money. So let's start with equity. If you were to choose a equity investment product with us, I want you to understand that we have two different type of strategies in equity. There is an index-based strategy and there is a stock-based strategy. So when we're talking about index right now, our index-based core strategy, which is strategic index investing plan, using technicals every single month, is able to buy cheaper than the first day or the average price of the first day of all the months of the year. In simple words, you are making almost 2% extra alpha returns over the index. Now, this is just the core strategy. On top of that, you have arbitrage in ETF, which is a differential pricing of ETF from one ETF product to another, which in certain days gives 2 to 3% extra. We've experienced a lot of that in 2020, some of that in 2021 as well. I believe the more volatility, more of these options will happen. We have seen up to 3 to 4% of gross differential between two different ETF products. That is a gain you can stand to make within one day itself. Isn't that amazing? So that's another way. Third, you also get the guidance of tactically investing more into the index ETFs whenever a major fall happens. We've seen the experience of that giving 30 to 100% returns in the past every single time we've exercised it. We did that in 2020, before that we did in 2017, before that we did that in 2014. Every single time we did that, we made 30 to 100% returns. So that is also a part of the service itself. So using all of these methods, you are able to make way more than what the index has to offer. If you only want to make what the index has to offer, you can go for the online brokers without paying any fees, or at negligible fees, you're able to get those benefits. But now you are talking about playing another game, making more returns. And for making that extra return, our team has to work extra. And that is exactly how this fees stands as a great value against the benefit that you're able to get out of this. Okay, it's not just equity. If you talk about our stock portfolio, we do research on the thought process of taking lesser risk but actually getting more returns. So our short-term value investment strategies are designed in such a way that you are taking a higher return than the index itself, and that too you're taking lesser risk than the index to get that return. So predominantly with lesser risk, you're able to make more returns than the index itself. So this is great for lump sum investing. If you were to go for similar strategies by investing into PMS or AIF, I want you to know that they typically charge from 2 to 2.5% as yearly management fees. On top of that, about 1 to 1.5% as a one-time setup fees. On top of that, you have to pay standard brokerage, which could be between 30 to 50 paisa per transaction. On top of that, there is a custodian fees. This is the value that we bring, where we just charge 1% instead of charging all of these fees to give you this value on the churn of your portfolio. So from that perspective, you are able to really save massive amount of money, get similar type of services, yet do it at great value without taking high risk, getting great returns out of it. Now let's talk about other asset classes. There is gold. So again, in gold, when not only do we give technical levels to buy gold, which is a great research in itself, which has the potential of making you way more than any other style of investing, but also I want you to understand that there is differential pricing in gold ETF and sovereign gold bond. So you can arbitrage between one to another product to make we've seen in the past up to 7 to 8% returns were made by certain investors in 2020 and 2021, because we sold certain sovereign gold bonds which were at a premium, something we bought at a discount. The discount was at 4%, the premium went up to 3 to 4%. So that average from -4 to 0 and 0 to +3 made 7%. So these kind of arbitrage opportunities keep on coming, something you will not be able to spot and manage on your own online account or by doing it yourself. So that 1% really isn't anything compared to the value that you get here. Now let's talk about the next asset like REITs and InvIT, something you cannot invest in online broker methods. So again, along with the research that you get from knowing what buying levels you need to invest at, it becomes a great value proposition in itself. Now let's talk about debt. Yes, so when we're talking about debt, at this current juncture today, I want to tell you that the average mutual fund of debt is typically about on a short to medium term basis between 5 to 6% return is what they're giving. The NCDs that we have chosen for you, using certain accounts which will make it tax efficient for you, or using certain tax efficient NCDs, we are able to get as much as 8 to 9% rate of return from our NCDs. And this is also return you will not get when you invest yourself, because we're using the bidding process to buy the bond at a cheaper price, getting you a higher yield to maturity. This is how a 7% bond becomes 8 to 9% bond, or 8% bond becomes a 9% bond per se. So that is how this 1% is charged only once, and until the maturity you hold it, your money comes back without paying the transaction fees. This 1% is actually free for you if you look at it from this perspective. Now, apart from all of this, the one main big benefit that you get is you get a consolidated view of your entire wealth invested or your entire portfolio invested into the Trendline services. You're able to see your asset allocation, your holding, how much dividend you have received in your bank as passive income, how much you invested, what is the current value, what is the XIRR, profit and loss, all of those things in one single page. And this is not just for one person, but you can see it as a consolidated for the entire family as well. So this is how and why I say that this 1% is the cheapest way of managing your money. By doing that, you're able to get all of the benefits that I've shared with you. So need not think about the cost, think about the value, and value here is maximum.